morning, everybody. It's 9 a.m. My name's Mackenzie, and my hair's wet because we are getting ready to go to the Plant and Reptile Expo in Mississauga. So we've got a couple things that we're looking for while we're there, and we've got a couple things we're going to pick up. So let's get going. It opens at 10 a.m. and we're hoping to be there right at the open so that we can get everything done, go home, and enjoy our Sunday. And we're back. We've got another unboxing video to do because of all the stuff we got at the expo. And voila! We actually made out pretty well this time. We went in looking for a couple specific things, and we succeeded in finding pretty well everything we wanted to without spending too much money. Obviously, I grabbed cards and stuff from a bunch of different vendors along the way, some which I made purchases from, others that I would like to make purchases from in the future. So these are all the places that I grabbed cards for, and I'll try and include them as I go through to show you what I got from where. And let's get into what we actually purchased. So, first vendor, and also it will be our last vendor, but we got these from Fervid, Oddities, and Exotics. It was Gecko Diet. We got a couple things from Tiny Tanks, which is actually super cool. It's run by a kid. I don't know how old he is, but he's quite young. But he has this business, and he does little things like springtails, which you can see here. We got some orange springtails. He does isopods. They had a couple jumping spiders. We got 2 batches of the orange isopods because I already have white ones and I wanted a different kind that kind of pops and stands out. It also matches my nails, funny enough. There's kind of a theme here. They match, and then one of the creatures that you've already seen and will see again later also matches my nails. Then we got these isopods. This is actually one of the species that we have wanted to get. So their common name is the sandstone isopods. They're not super special as far as color or anything, but they kind of have a bumpy surface. And they look kind of like stone. And they're actually quite big, which is cool. I like seeing them, so I like some of the bigger species, like our Armadillidium gestrois. So this is another of the Armadillidium species, which common name is just sandstone. So we got a couple of those guys so that we can start a colony for ourselves, so that hopefully we can sell them to other people, because I just think they are really cool. This little dude was very chill. He's quite big. I didn't really think that they were that big, but evidently they are. And there's a bunch of them in there. So it's a good little starter colony. There was lots of isopods at the expo, so we kind of got some here, some there. But that's our Tiny Tanks purchases. So thank you to Tiny Tanks. Then we've got 2 other isopod species. They're from different companies though. So this first species is a species we already have. It's our Armadillidium gestroi, or the yellow or golden dot isopods. We got these guys from Port Credit Pets, and there's a good number of them in there. We wanted to kind of bolster our colony's numbers and diversify it a little bit. They're very, very pretty. Like I said, they're one of the bigger ones, so they're actually cool to watch and see. They are more visible than some of the other species, which is what we like about them, is that you can kind of see them, you can keep them as pets, all that. So this species here is from the Reptile Jungle. These are the Cubaris marina papaya. So we did want to get a Cubaris species. That's stuff like your rubber duckies or your panda kings, which are super popular. They're also super expensive. And I really didn't feel like spending $20 for 2 rubber ducky isopods. So I chose a different Cubaris species that is equally as cute. They're just not as fancy looking, but they do the same job as far as I'm concerned. And I like kind of that off peachy or subtle peachy color to these guys. So that's what we chose to get from the Reptile Jungle. Then we're back to Fervid Oddities and Exotics for our piece de resistance. So we got Amazon milk frogs. And they're itty bitty teeny tiny little babies right now. They're so cute. We have a tank that we're redoing, and it is too big for them right now, but we're letting the plants establish. I will be doing a video on that in the near future, just of the tank building process. It's very cool. It's pretty complicated. You'll see it in the next video probably, but these guys are adorable. They're like the size of my thumbnail right now, and they are, like I said, they're Amazon milk frogs, and we'll get into, different stuff about them later on when I do a species spotlight on them. So now you can see I'm going through and we're going to do the setup process for everybody, like always in these videos. We're starting with our orange isopods, getting them all set so that they can start to reproduce. That way I can put them into some of the bioactive tanks. Now, the main bioactive tank is the one that I will be doing the video on, and it has UVB lights in it to help with sunlight for the frogs, and the top part of the tank is for our crested gecko. So there's different moisture levels from the top tank to the bottom tank, and it's a lot of work. You'll see later. But we've set those guys up. Next we have to set up our little Cubaris papaya guys. So I always like to mix a little bit of water in with my substrate mix, that way it's kind of damp. And then I usually add in their actual substrate as well, just because they're already in it, and it's really hard to get all of the little itty bitty teeny tiny babies out. So I just dump the whole thing in. And then I'll add their leaf litter back in, and the carrot, and then we'll get them some other food later on. But I just like to kind of flatten it out a little, make sure that nobody's buried. They can kind of undig themselves anyway, but I like to kind of go through, just so they're not too far under the substrate, unless, they can put themselves there, but this is my fault that they're there, so I like to kind of help out. So we put back our leaves, which they will start to break down, and they are good to go as well. And we're going to repeat this process with the sandstones and our gestroys, the yellow dots. We're going to add the yellow dots in with our existing colony. We also got bark, leaf litter, wood rot, and some lovely moss from the Reptile Jungle. And it was all super good prices, so we got a bunch so that we could kind of add them into the isopod bins and the live bioactive tank that we're making. It's, you know, sometimes you see some ridiculous prices on the like wood and leaf litter and such. You can go outside and just get it yourself, but then you have to bake it in the oven and make sure that it's, you know, not got any foreign creatures in it in order to protect your own creatures. So I just, you know, look for good deals. The Reptile Jungle had a great deal on it, so we picked up a bunch of stuff. And like I said, we're going to finish up adding in our sandstone isopods into this one, and then we'll get on to the yellow dots, and we'll move to the frogs from there. It's also worth mentioning at this point that I didn't take a whole lot of video footage at the actual expo because I don't want to be that person that's got my camera out and is recording and getting other people in the videos in the expo that don't want to be in them and taking up space, and, you know, people are trying to look and shop and do their own thing. I don't need to make myself the main character. I'll just do my shopping with what footage I had and not worry about videotaping the actual expo. If you've never been to one, they're definitely worth going to. There's lots of different things to see: snakes, spiders, lizards, amphibians of all kinds. They've got tank setups, substrate foods, anything that you could really need, they have at the expos. Sometimes they've got some pretty good deals. You can kind of shop around and see different prices at different places. You can even sometimes purchase something before the expo and pick it up at the expo. So it's definitely worth looking into that and experiencing one for yourself. And we're going to finish up here with our frog setup. So like I said, these are Amazon milk frogs. They are tree-dwelling frogs, so we have to give them lots of things to climb on and stick to. You can see in this little enclosure I've got for them for now, I've got a couple plants in there. These are plants that have not been doing super well because I kind of forgot about them. So I put them in here to hopefully kind of bring them back to life. And they just make really good climbing spots for the frogs. They've got lots of different heights. There's some vertical surfaces, some horizontal surfaces. And they're frogs, so they're sticky, so that's going to be fun for them to kind of explore around in all the different foliage. Now, this was my mistake. I tried to grab the frog. They are so fast. You can see in this video, I've slowed it down as much as I can, and it still is barely visible in that footage. He landed on my recording stand. So the tripod that I use for my phone, it's like a centimeter thick. That's what he landed on. I was so amazed. But I learned my lesson after the first one. and kind of tried to lure them in without holding them above the tank. So if they did jump, they would hit like the sides of the tank or something else and not just jump into nothingness and hope for the best. You can see here how small they are. Like, you can see they're about the size of my thumbnail. There's a couple different names for these guys, and I will definitely be making more videos on their growth process because they actually will kind of change colors a little bit as they grow, and they're super fun to watch. I've actually fed them a couple times since I recorded this footage, and they are active hunters, so you can see them stalking their prey, being crickets and different bugs right now because they're so small. You can see them stalking and hunting, and they're very good eaters. They're so chubby and small. So again, thank you to Fervid, Oddities, and Exotics for these little dudes. I could not be happier with them. They are so cute. You really have to see them in person. They're so fun to watch. But that's all I've got for you guys right now. Thank you again for watching. I know I missed last week, but I appreciate every time that you click in on one of my videos when I post. Make sure to like and subscribe, as it helps me make videos and it helps YouTube recommend my videos. And I will see you guys in the next one.